Many people intuit that thoughts are the underlying problem that's causing suffering. This can be overt and pervasive in your life, which would include chronic overthinking, anxiety, depression, things like PTSD, which is pushing a thought or an image away, or obsessive thought patterns. With some background in meditation or spirituality, you often start to recognize that thoughts are what causes meditation to be challenging, at least in initial practice. The belief is that a thought is somehow a problem, that we have to push the thought away or try to suppress thoughts in general or calm the mind down. But all of these beliefs underscore the sense that there's a problem with thinking, or that thoughts themselves are the problem. This intuition isn't that far off, but it's not the presence or absence of a thought that's an issue that causes suffering. It's the relationship we have with thoughts. It's our reaction to thoughts. It's ultimately the sense of an identity that is built into thoughts, that is entangled in thoughts. So in this video, I wanted to describe 3 levels of disentangling identity from thought. The first level is pretty simple, and with a bit of meditation practice and some good instruction, you start to sense it pretty quickly. And it's described in meditation practices themselves, whether it's breath practice or mantra practice. But the idea is that we have a neutral relationship with thought during practice. We don't try to push thoughts away, and we don't try to grab onto thoughts. So we calm the tendency for desire and aversion through practice. For instance, a mantra works well for this because it's a sound that may or may not even have a meaning, but we use the sound to attune our attention to this neutral space in consciousness. This is a place where we're not pushing or pulling on thoughts, where thoughts are essentially inert. And so we can attune to this and train ourselves to experience thoughts in a neutral, non-polarized way. So this is the practice approach and the first stage of disentangling identity from thought. So with this, it's very much episodic, meaning it only really happens during practice, although during other times in our life, we may notice a calming of the mind in general, and that's fine. But it tends to be mostly associated with practice. And most importantly, with this stage of disentangling identity from thought, identity hasn't shifted at all. Identity is still fully intact, and it's based in cognitive structures. You could say that the ego structures are essentially unchanged and remain intact. So the second stage, or the second phase of this disidentification with thought occurs with awakening. It occurs with a shift in identity. And once that's occurred, that shift has occurred, we experience thoughts and the thought space in a very different way. We experience consciousness as seamless with thought. Isn't that right? Do you agree? And from this place, we start to recognize a deeper equanimity. It's an equanimity of being, of consciousness, of the sense of I. Because we see clearly and intuit now that we never were actually defined by thoughts. That thoughts are something like ghosts, clouds floating across the sky. So this affords us quite a bit of release, of freedom, and an ability to find ourselves back in this space of being in consciousness and recognizing that it never has actually gone anywhere. This is just the natural state. With this, we've stripped away a layer of identity, and we've disentangled ourselves from thought and the constant distraction of thought in a significant way. So what this does is it brings the deeper identity structures to the surface, into consciousness to be metabolized. This is often felt as intense emotion, as resistance patterns, as repressed material coming into consciousness that we have to integrate, work through. And this is kind of the real work of realization that occurs after awakening. And then, fast forwarding quite a bit, a few years usually, at least, we come to this place after we've experienced the boundless nature of reality. We've experienced a shift into recognizing that there are no actual boundaries in the sensory flow of phenomena. And after that has occurred, just licking the microphone. After that's occurred, we start to perceive thoughts in a very different way. In fact, we start to perceive thoughts in the same way we perceive the senses, like a sound or a color or form or a sensation. And that is that a thought is a singular experience. It's a full experience. And there's nothing apart from the thought perceiving it. There's nothing apart from the thought aware of it. There's only thought. This is the same with sound and sensations and forms. So with this, the subtle self-sense, the remaining sense of watcher state, doership, the sense of space in which all of this is occurring, is annihilated. It's just gone. Because there never was anything in which everything is occurring. Even everythingness stops making sense because experience is so singular. It's so just this, which is one sound, which is one movement, one taste, one object, and even one thought. We see here that there's no place for a self-structure to abide, to exist at all, and never has been. It's simply been an effect of thoughts reflecting other thoughts. So this is a very difficult thing to talk about, the experience of this. But it's as if the universe comes forward to express itself, or everything comes forward to express itself as one singular impression, expression, urge, movement, or sound. It can be taking a bite of food, stepping out of the shower. It can be a sensation of affection for your pet, for a loved one. But there's nothing receiving that. There's nothing aware of that. There's nothing apart from that. There's nothing moving through time and space that comes in contact with that. There is only that. And this is full disentanglement of identity from thought. In fact, with this, the paradigm of identity is seen to be wholly illusory. There's no such thing as identity, and there doesn't need to be. Presence is complete, full, not occurring somewhere. It's only this, one doing, one expression, one wholeness, one turn of the Dharma wheel.
Okay, we done. Good job. Good job. Good job. You did good. You did good. Want to go play? Let's go play. Let's go play.